Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today, surprisingly, we're going to take a break from talking about Brendan Rodgers. Even though I've been banging on about him for the last 3 weeks, it's time for one day to set him aside and let's talk about transfers at Celtic Football Club, because we could be seeing our first signing of the summer transfer window very, very soon. Apparently our first signing is currently undergoing their medical, and who knows, maybe it's as imminent as tomorrow. Let's talk about that. Let's have an edition of Celtic Transfer Talk. Okay, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. Support has been nuts over this whole saga to do with the manager, but keep pressing the like and subscribe button. It goes a long way. Right, it's going to be a busy transfer window, as we all know. This is a new era at Celtic Football Club, the Rodgers 2.0 era, and it's at a point in time where now some people are saying that Brendan Rodgers is going to get a transfer kitty up to £40 million to play with this summer transfer window. It's, we've never seen anything like this at Celtic, to spend that amount of money in one window. But we know that he wants to revolutionise us in Europe. He wants to do much more than he'd done in his first tenure. And to do that, he is going to need money to spend. So, as he said at the end of his first statement joining the club, let's get to work. Reportedly, our first signing of the transfer window could be done as early as tomorrow, with the medical going on right now. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about a player who I missed the rumours breaking about last week. Let's talk about Odin Thiago Holm. So a wee bit of background. This story actually broke last week about Celtic coming in for Odin Thiago Holm. I was obviously away on holiday, so I never got the chance to speak about it, talk about the rumours, talk about the player himself. However, we've bypassed all the rumours, we've bypassed all the nonsense. It looks to be a done deal, it looks to be happening. Odin Thiago Holm is reportedly in London right now for his Celtic medical and could become the first signing of the Rodgers 2.0 era. Someone who has apparently been a target for Celtic for quite a while now, kind of transcends managers. Wouldn't have mattered if Ange was here, if Rodgers was here, if it was Knutson who was here. It looks as though he would have become a Celtic player anyway, but nice to see that we're getting our first signing of the season wrapped up. Norwegian journalist Stian Andre Deval put this out this morning. Medical test for Odin Thiago Holm today. It is conducted in London for practical reasons. He will be sold from Vålerenga to Celtic if he passes the test, and apparently Celtic have agreed a deal around £2.5 million for the midfielder. And yeah, an exciting one to say the least. If you've done your research, if you already know a bit about the guy himself, it is one to get excited about. It's one that I'm very excited about, and we may as well discuss the reasons why. 20 years of age, central midfielder, currently playing for Vålerenga in the Norwegian Eliteserien, capped for the Norway under-20s as well, and well established now as a first-team player in the Norwegian top flight. He's made 76 appearances already for Vålerenga in the Eliteserien, getting 6 goals and 4 assists into the bargain. A player that offers something a bit different, I feel, and we'll come on to that, to this Celtic side. But he's said to be one of the biggest prospects right now in Norwegian football, and you could probably stretch that as far as European football. We're going to talk about why in a moment, but someone who in the middle of the park I think could offer something completely different to Celtic, someone who obviously has longevity in that midfield as well, being only 20 years of age. And it's good that Celtic are acting on someone like this now when, interest doesn't seem to be that high and the money is quite low. This is someone I think comes with little risk if the ceiling is as high as what people are making out. And one that I think could fit into this team really, really well. I know we've got a great amount of centre midfielders at this moment in time, but I think that he's someone that, we'll talk about the comparisons in a moment, that offers something a little bit different, and especially for European football, could be the sort of player that we need. But why is he so exciting? Why is this guy getting all the headlines right now? Well, he's been named a few things back home, but across Europe, he is making his presence known. Thiago Holm right now has been included on many of these lists that gather the best wonder kids in Europe and ranks them, and he's getting all of them right now. So one of the lists which compiles 100 of the best players currently under 21 in Europe, Holm comes in at number 90. He's been put in that. I think that's one of those UEFA ones that get put out. I'm not entirely sure who compiled that list together, but he was also included in the Guardian's list of the best players for the next generation, the 60 youngest talents in world football. Thiago Holm was also included in that. That was the Guardian's list, so another one right there. And then finally, he was included in the list for the European Golden Boy for 2023. Of course, that award which has seen winners such as Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe in the past few years. He was up for that. He was listed in amongst those stars. I mean, you look at the players that you're joining right now in that, and you know, there's some amount of great under-21s right now. You just look at Jude Bellingham, who's the most recent example of greatness at a young age. That big move, 115 million euros to Real Madrid. Such a young star. I'm not saying that Odin Thiago Holm is quite that level yet, but to be named in the list alongside players like that certainly shows that the boy has talent, and it's one to get excited about very easily. So I've been banging on about how I feel like he's the kind of player Celtic could be using, and he could be very useful for us, especially in European football. Why do I think that, and what indicates that? I'm not going to sit here and say that I've watched him, because I've not, and it's the same with the majority of players we sign. We need to take everything with a pinch of salt, and the best judging of a player is just time. You know, when they come into Celtic, seeing them as a character, as a personality, and then seeing them playing, that's the best way to judge it. But if you're going off what we've heard about him so far, he's been compared quite a bit to his fellow countrymen and the captain of the Norwegian national team, Martin Odegaard, with his style of play and the way he kind of works and operates in the middle of the park. Not exactly a traditional attacking midfielder, not a number 10 per se, but not someone either who sits back and just defends. He's an engine in the middle of the park, very much like Martin Odegaard, who can do the work as a number 10 and do all those things. He can score goals, he can make goals. But if you watch Arsenal and you watch Martin Odegaard play, or you watch Norway even, you'll see that he does a lot of defensive work as well. He can sit back, he can be that bit deeper when he needs to, and apparently that's the kind of player that you're getting with Odin Thiago Holm. Someone who can do the business, moving up the park, do the attacking things, but when he needs to sit back and needs to be a little bit deeper, is just as good. And why do I think that's good for us in European football? Because I feel like in the past, it's been very black and white with Celtic. We either have a midfielder who does attacking or a midfielder that does defending. There's been a couple that break that mould, of course. We look at McGregor over the past couple of years, and he's been able to do both. But he's been exclusively in one, hasn't he? Like last year, he was exclusively that defensive midfielder. And then when you go back to Rodgers' first time, McGregor was pretty much exclusively an attacking midfielder. I feel like if you have someone like Thiago Holm who can adapt to the game, and he can do a bit of both of that against these higher and better oppositions, if he can come in and give you that sort of quality, then it makes it easier for us to adapt to our game in the middle, and it makes it easier for us to, you know, change in the game if we want to go for it, if we're trying to protect a lead. Because with Rodgers, it's not going to be like Ange. It's not going to be constant attacking football for 90 minutes and just go for it. We've got to accept the reality that we will revert back to a little bit of that kind of safer football. And having a player like Thiago Holm, who works like that in the midfield, could be very, very useful for us. So I'm personally looking forward to it. That's if he gets into the team straight away. It was one of the talking points I wanted to bring up in this video. You know, how much should we expect to see of him in the first season? Will he break into that team straight away? Because look at the players we've got. We've got O'Reilly, we've got Hatate, we've got McGregor. We don't know the situation with Aaron Moy right now, but we've got our kind of main three in the middle, haven't we? We've got our constant three, and does he break into that straight away? Nobody knows. We need to wait and see the quality of the player we're getting. It also depends on who leaves the club. Will Rio Hatate get that big move? Will Matt O'Reilly get a big move? Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? We don't know exactly that yet. So how much should we expect to see of Thiago Holm? Honestly, I think we'll see a wee bit of him. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket yet and say that he'll be a B-team player or he'll be a first-team player. I think it'll be a nice happy medium at the beginning. I think Brendan Rodgers will if he's green-lighted this transfer, will be happy with it. And if he's as good as what, we're hearing these reports and being nominated for awards and put in all these lists, it's the kind of talent that Celtic have to nurture correctly rather than wasting. Now, he might come in, he might not be good enough. But if he has that there, then we need to nurture it right. We need to give him chances in the first team. And I think we'll see him a fair amount. And it brings me on to the last point I wanted to talk about in this video. Obviously, we need to wait and see if he actually gets the medical done and dusted and comes through the door. But is it a Rodgers signing? No, obviously not. And will that affect his chances in this Celtic team? You can go back to 2 years ago when Celtic brought in the likes of Urhoghide and Liam Shaw. They were evidently not Ange signings. They never made it anywhere near the team. I think this is completely different. I'm not going to lie. I think that there's, number one, a quality difference between the likes of Shaw and Urhoghide and Thiago Holm. And I think that this is one that you're spending so much money on, £2.5 million, which is a decent fee. You've got to remember that Rodgers wouldn't have greenlighted it if he didn't want it. Yes, as I said earlier, it transcends managers. I think that Thiago Holm has been identified by the club's recruitment team that he would have came in whether Ange was here or not, whether Rodgers was here or not, or anyone else. I don't think that that's going to affect his chances next year in this Celtic side, just like it's not going to affect anyone else. Rodgers is coming in and working with a fresh squad. There's only, 3 players left from Rodgers being here? Forrest, McGregor and Bain. That's the only 3 coming to my head straight away. None of this side have worked with Brendan Rodgers. Everyone is back to zero. Everyone is back to impress the manager and get earn your place in the side. And that'll just be the same for Thiago Holm. It's not going to make a difference whether or not he was here last year or not. Rodgers will obviously have him named as his first signing, technically. But I think that if he's given it the all clear, it's not going to affect his chances. And I think that Rodgers will be excited to work with him. Why would he not be? 20-year-old Norwegian centre midfielder. He's got versatility. He's the kind of player I think that could thrive under Brendan Rodgers, quite frankly. So we'll wait and see. It's all very exciting. We're in for a very exciting summer. New manager, new players, big transfer kitty. It could be potentially one of the most exciting summers to be a Celtic fan. Because in amongst all the anxiety and the kind of sadness of losing a manager like Ange, in comes, change, and in comes something to talk about, and that's all very exciting. So, yeah, Celtic about to make their first signing of the summer transfer window. We'll see how it all goes down, and I'll be here every step of the way along the transfer window. So until next time, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.